What is up everyone? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today is going to be a Q&A. I asked you all on Instagram to ask me some questions and you sent me through so many. So I'm just going to pick a few and go through them. It is getting cold here in New Zealand right now. So I've got my fluffy beanie on, my fluffy socks, and I'm ready to go. As always, if you do enjoy this video, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and smile. The first question I'm going to answer is from Sophie, and she's actually on the Angeli Fit Squad, and I think it's such a great one. So, has your family always been supportive of you with counting calories, skipping foods at family parties, etc.? So I think it's really important to go through my background before I answer this question. So my family is not into the gym or fitness at all. My family's background was mainly in music, so I was brought up playing violin and piano. We weren't very sporty, and when I started going to the gym, my dad thought I was wasting my time. He didn't understand why I wanted to buy protein powder or anything like that. So it was kind of a challenge to just focus on what I wanted to do and keep going to the gym and just to tune everyone else out around me. A lot of people didn't get why I was getting into the gym, but I just ended up falling in love with going to the gym and lifting heavy, and I just kind of stuck with it. But then when it came to nutrition, I didn't change what I was eating. I just kept eating as I was, and if anything, I actually ate more than before because I was going to the gym. So I had it in my head that, you know, I'm going to the gym now, I need to eat more, but I just didn't track calories, I didn't track macros. I had no idea what I was doing when I started going to the gym, and I just ended up gaining more and more fat, to be honest. But when I did start looking into my nutrition and I started learning more about it and learning how to count macros, how to track my calories on MyFitnessPal, I learned so much more about how my body responds to certain foods and what makes me feel really good. So when I decided that I wanted to compete, that was the first time in 2017 that I had ever seen my abs, and it took a lot of consistency around my nutrition. And it did, of course, mean that I could not eat at every family dinner. I couldn't go out and eat whatever I wanted when I went out with friends for lunches or dinners or dates with Ross. So for me, that was kind of a big change. I'd always just been so used to eating whatever I wanted whenever I wanted, but my parents are so supportive of me now. So whenever I go back home, they are supportive. They understand that, you know, competing is what I love doing. They understand what it takes to get there. My mum actually watched me compete in October in New Zealand. And then in terms of Ross's family, we have the most amazing family dinners. Even in lockdown, we've been having family dinners, and they could not care less what I eat or what I don't eat. You know what? I think that the ones around you should be supportive, but I understand that not everyone is like that. So it is so important to make sure that you surround yourself with like-minded people and people that want the best for you. So I get that a lot of families and things probably don't understand that, you know, you need to be in control of your nutrition if you want to lose weight and you want to achieve your fitness goals. So for those of you that don't have anyone out there supporting you and understanding your goals, that's where the online communities come into play. So having me on Instagram, sharing all my posts, sharing these YouTube videos, having a coach or something like the Angeli Fit Squad, where you have other women all around the world doing the same thing as you, looking to become the best version of themselves, is really handy. So Sophie, if you do feel like your family doesn't kind of understand, I'm so glad that you're on the squad and you have all of us supporting you. But tips for those of you that are out there and you feel like you're alone on your fitness journey, I recommend speaking to a loved one about your goals and what you want to achieve this year. So if you have a partner, talk to them about what your, you know, fat loss or muscle building goals are so that they can support you. Maybe this means that instead of going out for date nights, you're going to make macro-friendly pizzas and have pizza at home and watch a movie. Maybe if, you know, your parents aren't so supportive, maybe you explain to them why you're doing it and what you want to achieve. And I'm sure that any parent wants, you know, the best for their kids. So just make sure that you talk to them, keep it open, make sure you have a clear understanding of your goals and why you're doing it, so that when the food comes out at family events or family dinners, you understand why you're choosing to stick to what you plan to eat. But also know that it's okay to eat at family dinners. It's important. Life happens, but it's just about working your day around that. So if I know I've got a family dinner on Saturday night, maybe on Saturday morning I might choose to skip my breakfast so that I have extra calories for dinner or dessert that night. So it's all about making this a lifestyle. It's not about necessarily skipping out on all these things. It's just about making them work within your caloric intake for the day or for the week. Aisha, I hope I said your name right. Love how your fitness journey is really emphasized on making it a lifestyle instead of yo-yo diet. So this isn't a question, it's just a statement. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you can tell that's how I am, and it follows nicely on from Sophie's question and what I just talked about. So I think a lot of people jump into all these fad diets. They expect to get quick results. You know, they want to lose crazy amounts of weight in 1 to 2 weeks, and that's probably because you've seen all these quick fix type schemes online of people promising that you can lose 15 pounds in 2 weeks or whatever. From my own personal journey, I can tell you that nothing happens overnight. It really comes down to a few key things, and those key things are nutrition, exercise, consistency, patience, and hard work. I would say those are the top 5 things that are going to really get you the results. You have to be patient. Sometimes I'll get people that join the squad and they're disheartened that in the first 1 to 2 weeks they've only lost 2 pounds. I'm telling you, 2 pounds in 2 weeks is amazing. We're not looking to lose 10 pounds in the first month and then, you know, fall off the diet that was so extreme you couldn't stick to it and then gain back that weight and more. We're looking to lose fat on the highest amount of calories with the least amount of cardio ongoing. So we want this to be a continuous journey in which you can make this a lifestyle, you build healthy habits, and you continue ongoing instead of falling off track after 6 weeks and going the complete polar opposite. So celebrate those small wins. Don't get caught up on the scales. Focus on how your clothes fit, how your energy is, how your sleep quality is, making healthier choices, moving more throughout the day, hitting those steps, drinking enough water. Focus on all these non-scale victories that you are doing each day and those healthy habits that you're building, because those are what's going to get you the results long term. Miss Chris, should I only lift heavy weights to tone and sculpt my body and lower my body fat percentage? This is a great question. So a lot of people around the world right now, including myself, are on a lockdown. We don't have access to a gym. Can you lose fat without the gym? 110%. So it's not about lifting heavy. It's not about higher reps, lower weights. It's not about crazy circuits. You know what's going to be the #1 thing to you losing fat? What you're putting in your mouth. Nutrition. You cannot outwork a bad diet, and I feel like I sound like a broken record saying this because I say it every single day on Instagram lives. You cannot outwork a bad diet. So a simple way of explaining this is, if someone stands next to a treadmill and they eat pizza at the same rate someone's running, so say I'm eating a piece of pizza while you're on a treadmill running, I can guarantee you, you are not going to burn more calories than me eating that pizza. So what this means is that in order for you to lose fat and to lose weight, you need to be aware of how much you are putting into your body in terms of your caloric intake. So you just really need to get in tune with your body and understand the nutritional values of what you're putting into your body. So how can you do this? You can do this by downloading the app MyFitnessPal and track everything that you're eating and drinking for the next 3 days. Get a gauge of how many calories you're consuming and then go from there. I do recommend, of course, getting help with calculating your caloric intake. As I've said in my MyFitnessPal YouTube video, definitely go check it out if you haven't yet. Do not use an app like that to calculate your calories. Calories need to be calculated to you, your goals, your height, your weight, your daily activity, and so many other factors come into calculating that caloric intake. But in terms of the question from Chris about whether you should be doing heavy weights or what kind of exercise you should be doing, so alongside a caloric deficit, that alone is enough to make you lose weight, making sure that your eating is in line with your goals. And then following on from that, I personally always focus on weightlifting when it comes to fat loss. I want to make sure that I am lifting heavy, I'm getting as strong as I can while shredding to maintain as much muscle as possible. But I also know that building lean muscle is the key for me shaping my body. It's not in hours of cardio. But when you're at home, of course, without the gym, you may have limited equipment or no equipment. So it's going to be a case of having intense home workouts, which might be circuit-based, or my new advanced home programs, which do require a little bit of weight. It's really nothing to do with what type of training you're doing. It's more so to do with your nutrition in regards to fat loss. But then when it comes to shaping your body, yes, lifting heavy feels good. Yes, lifting heavy is going to help you build that lean muscle and create some shape. So ideally, if you do have gym access, that's great. And if not, you can definitely do home workouts and still achieve great results. You look stunning. How tall are you? I am 167 centimeters. Thank you. I just want to know how to calculate how many calories I need to eat to be in a deficit. So there's a few different formulas out there that you can use to calculate your calories to be in a deficit. You could try trial and error. So what that would be is testing yourself on, say, I'm just going to throw out numbers. Don't follow this because it's just blanket numbers. Say I tested myself at 2,000 calories and I'm losing weight. I'd be in a deficit. If I tried 2,100, am I still losing weight or am I maintaining weight? So it would be a case of extreme consistency over a period of time and just testing different macros and different caloric amounts to see where you're at and what your weight is doing and how you're feeling. Or of course you could use different calculators and formulas online, or of course you could join my squad and let me calculate it for you. And the way that I calculate it is using a formula based on your height, weight, age, what you've told me your goals are, your daily activity, and we work together with fortnightly check-ins to progress you. So you know what, if you're being very consistent and you're losing weight over the 2 weeks, I don't want to lower your calories because I want you losing weight on the highest amount of calories. So for anyone out there doing it for themselves, if you pick, 2,000 calories and you're losing weight on that for 2 weeks, there's no point lowering your calories again if you're already losing weight. Stay on that until you need to adjust them again. Jamie, I want to lose fat and get more defined in 9 months. Cut first, then reverse slowly to build muscle. So I'm guessing what she's saying is what should she do over the next 9 months to achieve her goals? So a lot of people ask me, should I lose fat or build muscle first? And it really depends on the individual and your dieting background. I'm gonna go with some general advice here. For most people, they say that they want to get more toned. And usually that just means that they want to lose fat. Like, it's not a case of going into surplus and building muscle and gaining more fat. It's more about losing the fat that's hiding the muscle that they've already built from working out. So for most people out there, if you're sitting over 20% as a woman and you feel like you have fat everywhere and you still want to lose it, I would recommend going into a caloric deficit, lifting weights and focusing on losing fat first, and you may find that you start to kind of tone up and show that shape that you've been working on in the gym. So there's no point eating more food and gaining more fat over time, because the more fat you gain, the harder the shred's going to be. So we want to be in a prime position for building lean muscle. And so what I suggest doing is leaning down, losing some of that extra fat, and then what you would do from there, which is what I've done with a lot of the squad members, is then slowly start to reverse diet. Reverse dieting is where you're taking back any cardio that you're doing and also increasing your calories slowly over time to build lean muscle. The reason why I say we reverse diet and slowly increase those calories is because we don't want to go from, say, 1,400 calories, jump you up to 2,400 calories and have you gaining an excess amount of fat and wasting all the hard work that you've put in before. I've done this before. I've done different situations where, I've gone from 1,400 calories to jumping my calories up and gaining extra fat. Doesn't put me in an optimal position for muscle gain. It also doesn't make me feel very good. For example, this year I decided on the 31st of January I would do a shred. I did a shred. I dropped about 4.5 to 5 kilos, and now I'm maintaining the same weight, and I've increased my calories from 1,500 calories to over 2,000 calories. So the aim is to increase our calories and build that lean shape whilst kind of maintaining a similar weight and a similar fat percentage as where we ended our shred. Going back to Jamie's question, what should she do first? Depending where you are right now, Jamie, what you could do is lean down, lose some of the fat, and then spend a few months reverse dieting. So it might be that you're going to do 12 weeks shred and then 12 weeks building, and that's going to be a total of 6 months, and then maintain on your new higher calories for a while and just maintain that body shape. Really depends on the individual. If you guys do have any questions about where you are right now, send me a message on Instagram and Julie_Fit4Life. Send me some photos, let me know where you're at, and I'm happy to help advise what you should be doing. Which body type from comp lean to post comp do you want for your wedding? Funny. So for those of you that have been following me for a long time, you'll know that I have gone through a roller coaster of different body shapes and sizes through my competing years in the past 3 to 4 years. And honestly, I'm really happy with where I am right now. I'm sitting at about 60.5 to 62 kilos. Your weight fluctuates a lot. I feel really happy and confident with where I am right now. I've never been someone that dreams of some giant wedding where it's going to be some special crazy day and everything revolves around you and you have this big dress and spend, you know, $50,000 on a wedding. That's just not me. Ross and I will be getting married next year in May, and usually I compete in May, so I would estimate that I would be a bit leaner for the wedding if I choose to compete next year. But I am not that fast. You know what? I love myself where I am now, and I know that Ross doesn't really care what body shape or size I am, which is awesome. He's so supportive. I'd just be happy to feel healthy and strong on the wedding day, probably about where I am right now. I'd like to maintain this weight and shape year round. Maybe if anything, I might decide to do a little shred for it if I'm not competing, but you know what, it would be like 1 or 2 kilos down. Ideally, where I am at about 6 weeks out from a competition is where I am right now, and that's the shape I'd be happy with on a wedding day. But to be honest, any shape and size is fine as long as I'm with Ross and my family. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? One thing I've learned from my mum, it is that you cannot plan for the future, you know, too far in advance. And I mean, this year is a prime example of that. I thought this year was going to be insane. I thought I'd go compete in Australia last weekend. I thought Ross and I would have a few really cool holidays overseas, and look what happened. You know, we're probably going to be in New Zealand all year now without any overseas travel. So my mum was right. I always thought that you could plan for years in advance, but turns out you can't. In terms of where I'll be in 5 years, all I care about is that I'm happy and healthy, Ross is happy and healthy, my family's happy and healthy, and that's all I care for. All I really want from life is to just be successful, and success in my eyes is doing what you love each day and taking care of yourself and being healthy. Ideally, I would have helped over 1,000 women around the world feel their best and be their best through my online coaching with Fit with Aunt Julie. Health and happiness is my end goal. Julia, who is on the Aunt Julie Fit Squad, could you chat about being self-loving and satisfied while still pursuing a body transformation? This is such an awesome question. So I do actually want to go into this in more detail, but I'm just going to do a quick chit chat on it now. Honestly, I think that it is really hard to be satisfied when you start your fitness journey. So even when I was laying down for my first competition and I was in the best shape I had ever been in at that point in time, I thought at 4 weeks out from competition, not kidding, that I was fat, and I don't like that word at all, but I would pinch myself, you know, at 4 weeks out thinking that I wasn't going to be ready, and I was in the best shape of my life at that point in time. So I think that we truly can be our harshest critics, and it's important to not compare yourself to anyone else online. I think that when we begin to look at what everyone else looks like online, and we look at people around us and we start comparing ourselves to others, that's when we do ourselves a disservice. It's important to focus on being the best version of you. Realize how far you've come and celebrate the small wins. You know what? If you are someone that has been overweight for the majority of your life and you're choosing to walk each day and you're choosing to swap out the fizzy for water and things like that, that is such an accomplishment. You're pursuing your fitness goals while celebrating these small wins of, you know, making healthier choices each day. You might not look the way that you want to look or where you're going to look 6 months from now, but it doesn't mean that you can't love the body that you're in for being able to make those healthier choices and for being able to go on these walks around the block each day. So it can be really hard when you're comparing yourself to others, so I do recommend that you unfollow any accounts online that don't make you feel your best, and really try and be aware of what you're watching on TV and Netflix and your thoughts. Stop those negative thoughts that come into your head and reframe them. So instead of looking in the mirror each day and picking yourself apart, start realizing that you're so much more than, you know, the reflection in that mirror, like your kindness, how you treat others, realizing that you are more than your external features, and you do have to be more than that, because one day your looks are going to fade. At the end of the day, no one's going to care how you looked. They're going to remember how you made them feel and who you were as a person. I think that a lot of people put a lot of pressure into how they look instead of how they make others feel and how they feel about themselves. So really focus on how far you've come, and just remember that you are more than the way that you look. I do need to kind of have a bigger think on that question and do a full YouTube video on it, but I just want you guys to really focus on what you're doing each and every day. Be kind to yourself and know that one day you're going to look back and realize how far you've come, and that it's a-okay to celebrate where you are right now and to enjoy the journey. Please give some guidance regarding stubborn belly fat, especially lower belly. So a lot of people message me probably every single day asking me about losing the lower belly fat. And again, a few things I'm going to say is, don't compare yourself to anyone else online. The photos that you see on Instagram are highlighted reels. It's good lighting. It's maybe some Photoshop for certain people. It's probably first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, most likely after a workout. It's people posting their highlights. It's them in their best conditions. For some people, it's, you know, them leading up to a competition. Like when I am leaning down for a competition, you guys don't see the hard work that goes into it. It's the early morning, it's the skipping family dinners, it's drinking water when I go out to restaurants instead of ordering a meal. There's so much that goes in behind the scenes to get people to that level of a flat stomach. And even so, at the end of the day, after a full day of water and food, they sit down, I sit down, we still have a tummy, we still have rolls. No matter how lean you are, you're still going to have that skin or maybe a little bit of fat in that lower belly. Especially as women, it is so hard to lose fat around our core, our hips, our thighs, because it's the way that we are built. It's to do with our hormones. We are made to carry babies at some point in our life. So the first thing I'm going to say is stop comparing yourself to anyone online and how they look. The second thing I'm going to say is you cannot spot reduce where the fat comes from. What this means is that you can't decide you're going to do 100 sit-ups every single day and then magically have abs, you know, at the end of doing those sit-ups. But what you can do in order to lose fat from everywhere is be consistent with a caloric deficit. Really understand what calories you're putting into your body and track everything you are eating. Track the calories that you're getting from drinks, track the calories that you're getting from food. Weigh your foods, understand it, and be consistent over a period of time, and you will lose fat from everywhere. You can't just choose where the fat goes from, sadly, but if you are consistent over a long period of time, you will find that your waist comes in, and in order to get that really flat stomach and those defined abs, you're going to be hungry, you're going to struggle, and it's not going to be a fun time. I'll tell you this now, getting as lean as I do for a competition is not fun. It's not fun for me, it's not fun for Ross, it's not fun for any of my friends who can't eat out with me. I'm snappy, I'm tired, and it's hard work. For those of you that really want that six-pack, I want you to think about why you want it. Like if you think that leaning down is going to magically make you a better person or make you feel really happy, I can guarantee you it's not. Because if you can't be happy with where you are right now, you're going to struggle to be really happy with where you are when you're super shredded, if you can get to that level, which is very hard. And I'm always here to keep it real with you. It's not easy and it's not a fun time. So finding a healthy balance between, you know, being able to eat out with friends and going out on dates and enjoying family dinners while still achieving your fitness goals and maintaining like a great shape year round is just so much more satisfying. Like I'm loving where I am right now, and I can promise you I don't have a six-pack. Last question for today is from Jane. You did the bikini competition. How long did it take you to get from there, and how was it doing the competition? I absolutely love competing, and I actually have some specific Q&As on competing, so I definitely recommend checking them out on my channel. But in terms of how long it took me to go to competing, I was training in the gym for about 3 to 4 years before even deciding to do my first competition. And then my first competition, it was purely about fine-tuning my nutrition. And then after that, I gained a lot of weight. So it was about, you know, finding that balance again. I did a 12-week shred after my first competition, and I leaned down. I'll put some photos here. And then I decided to reverse diet. So over 13 weeks, so I did a 10-week shred, cut down to 62.5 kilos. I then did a 10-week a 13-week reverse diet, stayed the exact same weight, got my calories up nice and high. I felt really good. I made it more of a lifestyle, tracking my calories and training, and then I decided to go in 2018 back to the Gold Coast and do a competition. My first competition prep was 101 days. Then gained the weight, lost the weight, decided to do another competition in the Gold Coast. That was 16 weeks of prep, and I ended up coming second, which was absolutely mind-blowing, you know, to go from my first show to my second show and get second place. After that, I went traveling. I enjoyed building some muscle for the year. I worked on my feedback, which was more glutes and hamstrings. Came back again, which was last year, 2019, to the Gold Coast. I placed third in a very tough lineup. From there, we went traveling a lot. Last year was one of the best years of my life. I went to Hawaii, we did America, I got engaged to Ross. It was honestly just a highlight year. I cannot even believe how amazing it was. I traveled so much. And then this year I decided I wanted to do Gold Coast again. So I started shredding down in January, and I ended up at 6 weeks out realizing comp wasn't going to happen because of COVID. Now I'm just focusing on maintaining and building some lean muscle so that come the next time I step on stage, I bring in Julie 5.0. In terms of competing, it took me 3 years before going into my first competition, and then each year I'm just working on becoming the best version of myself. A lot of people ask me why I compete, and it's purely out of love. I love stepping on that stage. I love the journey. I love seeing how much I can transform my body. It's not for everyone. It's honestly hard. It's mentally challenging, but I love it, otherwise I wouldn't do it. So for anyone out there looking to compete, I recommend that you get a gauge of, you know, counting calories. Make this a lifestyle. I have girls on the Julie Fit Squad that join me, they work with me for a year, and then they go on to competing. I don't recommend that you compete within your first year of training. You should be training hard, you should be making it a lifestyle, getting used to tracking your calories, and getting confident in where you are in the gym with your relationship with food and how you view your body before going into competing. So take a good year or two to really build that foundation, and then come time when you want to compete, look at going to a comp coach at about 16 weeks out, and slay that comp prep and come out of it and go into a reverse diet instead of just going crazy on food after. So competing is not easy, but it is so rewarding, and stepping on that stage is the best feeling, which is why I keep doing it. I feel like this Q&A went on for so long. I could just talk so much. I love the questions you guys sent through. If you have any others, please put them in the comments below. I'm happy to help. But for now, I am going to go eat some breakfast because this girl is hungry. Bye.